Today we're going to talk about how to use the angle sum and difference formulas you have. So for this first one, I have cosine of 50 times cosine of 40 minus sine of 50 times sine of 40. So if I look at my angle sum and difference formulas here, I have cosine of alpha, cosine of beta, minus or plus sine alpha, sine beta. That condenses to become cosine alpha plus or minus beta. Again, that just depends. If I use the addition sign here, then I use the subtraction in the middle. If I use the addition sign in the middle, then I use the subtraction sign over here. In my formula, I'm using a subtraction sign. So with the subtraction sign here, then it's going to condense to become cosine of alpha plus whatever the beta is. So since my alpha here is 50, I'm going to add that to beta, which is 40, and 50 plus 40 is 90. And then you just go to your unit circle, and the cosine of 90 is 0. Now we're going to do some where we go the other way. Here we have the cosine of 105. 105 is not on the unit circle, so we're going to break it up into 60 and 45. Now looking at my angle and sum formulas, 60 is going to be my alpha, and 45 will be the beta. If I'm adding them, then in the middle I have to subtract them. So I have to write it as cosine alpha, cosine beta, minus sine alpha, sine beta. So here I have cosine 60, cosine 45, minus sine 60, sine 45. And then from there I just find where those points are on my unit circle. The cosine of 60 is a half, cosine of 45 is the square root of 2 over 2, minus the sine of 60, which is the square root of 3 over 2, and the sine of 45, which is the square root of 2 over 2. And you just multiply those fractions, so you get the square root of 2 over 4 minus the square root of 6 over 4. Zoom in a little bit on that. And then I simplify that by combining them, and I get the square root of 2 minus the square root of 6 over 4. Now this doesn't simplify anymore, because I don't have like radicals, so I can't do anything else with it. Do another one. Tangent of 105. Again, 105 is not on our unit circle, so to find the tangent of it, I need to break it up into 60 and 45. Looking at my sum and difference formulas here, 60 and 45 is going to be my alpha and beta. So if I add them, then in the numerator I'll add them as well, but in the denominator I take 1 minus the tangent of alpha times the tangent of beta. So here I have tangent of 60 and 45, and again in my numerator I have tangent of 60 plus the tangent of 45 divided by 1 minus the tangent of 60 and the tangent of 45. The tangent of 60 is the square root of 3, and the tangent of 45 is 1, so I just have the square root of 3 plus 1, and then underneath I have 1 minus the tangent of 60 is square root of 3 times the tangent of 45, which is 1, so the square root of 3 times 1 is just the square root of 3, so that's my denominator, and that's my final answer. We'll do one more. Number 35 here, we have the cosine of negative 300. Now negative 300 is definitely not on our unit circle. Well, it is if you obviously have to rotate clockwise. However, we can find it using certain points on a unit circle already given to us. So for this first one, what I'm going to do is take the cosine of 60 minus 360, because I know that 60 minus 360 gives me negative 300. And again, if you look at your sum and difference formulas, if I take alpha minus beta, then I take the cosine of alpha times the cosine of beta plus the sine of alpha, sine of beta. So here I have the cosine of 60 times the cosine of 360 plus the sine of 60, sine of 360. I go to my unit circle and find those points. The cosine of 60 times the cosine of 360 gives me a half, because the cosine of 60 is a half and the cosine of 360 is 1. So that's just a half. Then the sine of 60 is the square root of 3 over 2, but the sine of 360 is 0, So the square root of 3 over 2 times 0 is 0. So I just get 1/2 plus 0, which simplifies to 1/2. And now you can test that by looking at your unit circle. If I look at my unit circle here, let me zoom out a little bit. If I look at my unit circle, if I start at 0 and I want to go to negative 300, I'm going to go back to 60 here. This is the negative 300. That's the coterminal angle. It's 60 degrees. The cosine of 60 degrees is 1/2, which is exactly what we got. And that's how you can use the angle, sum, and difference formulas.